Welcome to Carter's Retro Reviews. This is not actually going to be a funny review. I'm not even going to attempt comedy. I'm reviewing Shinobi Legions. Look at that. Fucking sexy as fuck. Excuse me. This series started in the arcades and was quickly ported to systems like the Sega Master System, Commodore 64 and the NES. But that wasn't enough, no. They needed sequels and a series they can fall back on if they ever run out of ideas for other games. This game came out about halfway through the Shinobi life cycle. They released a few games over the Master System, Game Gear, Genesis and Saturn consoles, and then it sort of petered out until the PlayStation 2 because, let's be honest, one of the longest, if not the longest, supported console ever with a 12-year lifespan is bound to have at least one game from every popular series, and by this stage, Sega bowed out of the hardware market. People like myself still hold on to that thought that one day they'll come back and they'll make a new console, but the reality is those days are long gone. But it's always that maybe thought that I like to entertain every now and again. But after the two titles on PS2, they had a 3DS title and rehashed titles on XBLA and the PlayStation Network. Graphics are good even though they use digitized live-action actors in game sequences. But this game has one thing that is very unique about it for its time and one thing that's very unique for the series. The thing that's unique for its time is the live-action cut sequences between each round. And the unique thing for this series is that the game doesn't really flow on from the story of Shinobi, and we're treated to this entirely different character called Sho. But the story is so stock standard, girl is captured, and you've got to go rescue her. Oh, and there's a twist. Your enemy is your brother. Not like that was really much of a twist since they told you on the back of the fucking box. I'm not sure where I've heard that before. Oh wait, every fucking game that ever existed? Yeah, thanks. But what makes the story completely tolerable is those cutscenes I mentioned before, which are the weirdest fucking things ever. I recently did a review on Contra also for the Sega Saturn where I mentioned that it was a good game on its own, but if you compared it to most of the games in this series, it's one of the worst. Well, we have something similar here. The only downside this time is that I've only ever played two other Shinobi games before this one, so I haven't played nearly enough to really give you a sense of where it stands in the series. Based on various websites and YouTube, it seems to me that there are a few games worse than this and a few games better than this. But get this, There's also a difference between Shinobi X and this game. It's the same game more or less, except for one key difference. Sound. The game plays the same, or so I'm told, but now I kinda regret the decision to buy the US copy of Shinobi now that I have the chance to hear the sound in both games. From what I read and watched on YouTube, it's like day and night. Well, okay, not exactly, but the music adds an extra element of something. It changes the game quite drastically, and I can see how. This game was released in 1995 in the US, but the PAL version wasn't released until the following year because they hired some game music genius to come in, play some fat keyboard riffs.
Excellent!
You know, or even this. And then be all like, high five, take his fat paycheck, and then leave. What this does mean though is Shinobi X is also highly sought after, and if you give out dollar blowjobs, you're gonna need at least 60 of those puppies in order to pay for one. Your character doesn't get any better throughout the game, but he does pick up power-ups, which always come in handy. I found the game to be a little difficult at first, and each level obviously brings its own challenge, but I found level 2 easier than level 1. That might have more to do with me getting into the groove of the game, more than anything. I also found the difficulty just out of reach, but it meant all I needed to do was play it a little more, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's the sort of difficulty you want if a challenge is what you seek. Some people like the game handed to them, but a challenge should be something you can achieve and not some bullshit hard game that doesn't even give you a fucking chance. This gives you the chances that you need. You just fuck up, but don't worry, you'll get better with time. One small thing to add too is that I had some problems with it. When I started up the game, I got a blank screen. And I tried it on my second Saturn thinking that my first one was dead, but other games worked on it. It wouldn't really load, just sat on a blank screen, it wouldn't progress. Long story short, it was the fact that I had both controllers plugged in. Took the second one out and worked straight away. Who the fuck thinks of these things? Isn't there any quality control going on at, Victor Kai? Who the fuck are they? From what I read, they also did Criticom on the Sega Saturn. That can't be good. Well, would I recommend this game? Without a shadow of a doubt. I would think it'd be quite a stretch to say it's one of the best Saturn games, but it's certainly a rock-solid title at the very least. If you can though, and you don't mind pissing money up against a wall, go find Shinobi X and thank me later. Or you can thank me now. Totally up to you. I take PayPal or sexual favors as payment. As always, thank you very much for watching. Click on the TV to see the last review, and click on the Retro Domination banner to check out my reviews on their website.